Okay, so this is going to be a unboxing video, and we had a Dead Zone tournament on the, I think it was 3rd of April, and there was Dan Berman, who I had the pleasure of playing in Dead Zone and beating. So yeah, that tournament was good. 4 games, 3 wins and 1 defeat, where literally everything that could go wrong went wrong. Maison Labs, I blew myself up on a frag grenade, killed myself, and couldn't roll above a 3 on a D8. So, but that's Dead Zone for you, which is a cracking game on Mantic. So, set in obviously their futuristic universe, and there is a new game coming out, and it's called Firefight. So I say a new game, it's probably about the 2nd or 3rd incantation of Firefight. Along with Warpath, it has struggled to gain traction. Hopefully with this new starter set, we'll start to see that change a little bit. Now obviously this is not sponsored by Mantic, however I will make it clear they have provided me an early edition. But obviously, as with all my reviews, they are brutally honest. So if you want your product brutally honestly reviewed, then send it along. So yeah, basically we do stock Mantic stuff, but yeah, I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with Mantic. But they do make great games, and the models are now catching up with it. So what we will do, we will open this up and see what's inside. So for a starter set, it's got quite a lot of content. You've got the core rulebook, the tokens, all of the force lists, which is one of the big advantages with Dead Zone and subsequently now Firefight, unlike with another popular game where you have to literally buy every single, I think they're called codexes if memory serves me right. With this one, all your army lists are all in this one book here. Okay, so literally you can swat up on the enemy, but also if you want to play more than one faction, then obviously you can do that, and all your information is there without having to go out and buy more books. Quite a lot of models in here. We've got somewhere in the region of, I think it's about 66 models. And obviously you've got all your dice. Now obviously this is a D8 mechanic, and it also uses these order dice or command dice, which we'll find out shortly, in various different colours that will allow you to do different things. So with the D8 mechanic, taking it from Dead Zone, that hopefully should make it quite a robust game. So we will now open the box up and see what's inside. Okay, so with the outer sleeve out the way, I've got a nice robust cardboard box, so it shouldn't really have any damage. And inside, lots of bags of plastic. Okay, so these are the new Marauders, which are so much better than their last ones. So we've got quite a few of those. Again, more of them there, and even more of them, so that'll be the 40 of them. Okay, there should be 2 Ripper suits, which look like that one, and that one. And then we've got the Enforcer jet bikes. There's one. Is there 2 in that bag? Yeah, 2 in that bag. So we've got 2 bases there. Okay, and then we've got some blast shields for the enforcers or peacekeepers. And more bits there. Okay, so thankfully Mantic have done away with the circular round bases on the bottom of their models. Absolute nightmare they were, having to try and Dremel them off if you wanted to. They've still got the old bases in, which used to take the round disc. However, obviously if you just turn them over, they're completely flat. And then the advantage of the recess is that you can now magnetise, put a magnet in there, and then obviously you can keep your soldiers on a magnetised case nicely. So in actual fact, good idea keeping the round bases, not changing them completely, but obviously getting rid of the discs is a massive bonus. We've got some MDF bases, which will be for the larger peacekeepers and the Ripper suits. And then we have the coloured dice, which are game specific. So obviously you will need a set of those. D8s are easily, you know, you can come across those quite easy. I suppose in a way, shame that they're both the same colour. Could have maybe done 2 different sets there, but at the end of the day, it's a costing thing. And then we have the cardboard. So we've got what looks like maybe objective markers and all of the activation tokens here. I've got this green thing here. Let's have a look what that is, because it's clearly cut out. So whether that's an objective marker or a control panel, let's open it up and find out. Right, so yeah, it's grey on one side, green on another side. So no idea what they are. But I guess we'll find out when we open up the rulebook. So but yeah, lots of different. So we haven't got too much card to cut out there, which is okay. Some games can get absolutely bogged down with tokens, so that looks quite good. And then we've got the two rule books, which we'll come back to, and the most important bit, the firefight getting started. So your guide on how to assemble your models, which has always been a Mantic failing, but now, oh my god, look at that. Right, credit where credit is due. They have knocked it out of the park with that one. So yeah, anyone who's dealt with Mantic in the past, trying to find actually how to build anything or what weapons what, practically impossible. And Google was not your friend. But now everything's been done and all color coded, nice and clear. So that's great. You then got your force list for your starter set. So the Marauders, which are effectively futuristic orcs, is probably the most common phrase for them. So Marauders being orcs, and Enforcers, if you're looking at this coming from other sort of systems, then basically it's your Stormtroopers stroke Space Marines. Okay, and then at the back, okay, so these round discs are deployment tokens by the looks of it. Still don't know what the green and grey thing is, so we'll see. This is a beginner scenario, which is control the intel. Yeah, that looks like a nice straightforward battle. I suppose the only drawback with the starter set, as a starter set, is the fact that there is literally no terrain. Now obviously another manufacturer, normally you get a couple of pieces terrain with their starter sets, albeit the price point is obviously a little bit higher. So at £95 RRP, it's not bad, but obviously certain other manufacturers at 125 will include quite a bit more terrain. The value add-on for this set as well as a starter set, not fantastic, I'll be honest. I think it's about 20%. I'll double check my figures in a moment. Whereas again, a lot of the other companies' starter sets are anywhere up to 200% value added in the starter set. So I think if you were looking at it and having played Dead Zone, already having a good collection of Mantic fantasy or sci-fi models, unless you really wanted the new Marauders or Enforcers as a faction, but albeit every starter set has Enforcers in it, so every man and their dog seems to have Enforcers. I'm not necessarily, I think you could possibly get away with buying the core rules with the dice, because obviously D8s, yes, you've got, but these things, they're a tenner. The core rules with the tokens and those dice is 40 quid. And then the factions tend to be about 75, but with the faction bundles you get a flying vehicle or a tank as well. So really, whilst the starter set's great to sort of get someone into it, I think for those that have probably already got some forces, maybe you're better off just buying the rules and tokens, and then whichever faction suits your requirements, which is a bit of a shame really, because obviously if there'd been like 150 quid's worth of value in the box, then obviously it would be worth getting it. And bearing in mind, obviously they have their own terrain crate stuff, plus obviously the old style Mantic sort of cube builds. They could really put a bit more in that, so at least you had something on the battlefield. Because again, as a starter set, if this is your first sort of foray into gaming, you're playing a sci-fi battlefield which is on your table or whatever, and it's completely empty. And unlike when me and my brother were a kid, VHS cassettes don't exist anymore, because they were great for hills. Okay, so that's that bit. So we'll have a look at the force list and the rules, and we'll have a quick look at that. Okay, so we're going to look at the force lists before we actually sort of dissect the rules. So 110, well, 116 page book, something like that probably. And first things first, lovely artwork. Again, knocking it out the park with the new artwork. So really nicely put together book. Found this with the new Dead Zone as well. Again, really up their level of professionalism really. Previous games that have been done have been okay, but this now literally just takes it to another level. For those that are used to the 40k mechanic as well, then things have got, you know, quite a little bit similar. So, but there's no, you know, at the end of the day, no harm in copying stuff. If it obviously it's if it's a good idea, then copy it. So we've got the Asterians, sort of. Here we go with those. So if you're not familiar with these guys, they are, I suppose, quite a tricky force to play. They've got lots of little sort of bits that to the novice player can really sort of throw you out, and you can get beaten quite badly. However, once you know and get it locked down how to play them, they can be one of the strongest factions, definitely. And obviously I'm talking from Dead Zone experience, but I'm assuming that pretty much everything is going to follow through into this. So again, we have a speed stat, a shoot stat, which is in this case a 5+ for a marionette. So that's what you need to achieve on a D8. We have an AR rating, which is armor. Hit points 1. Any special rules, like the fact it's construct, nerve, its base size, unit strength, and its points. And then we have the bit down here, which has got the amount of models that you require for a unit. So 5 marionettes with no rifles, got range of 18, and it's 1 dice. And assault weaponry is an assault, so again that's close combat, and again 1 dice. So you can add an additional 5 marionettes for 11 points each. Okay, but you can only add up to 5 more, so you can only have a maximum of a 10-man unit of marionettes there. Okay, so so from that point of view, again obviously you build your forces accordingly. So you have your troop options, and then you have your specialists, so weapon platforms, Matsudans, etc. Your support options, which are the Spectres and the platforms, and then you have your command. Not sure why the command's necessarily at the back of the force list. Normally you would put your leaders at the front. You know, they've done well to get to where they have, so really they deserve to be at the front of an army list. Always the case. Generally it's one of those unwritten rules in wargaming that the leaders are always at the beginning, and then you work your way through. So they've changed that around a little bit. Some artwork, which I think they've actually just literally pulled completely from the Dead Zone rulebook, which again is fine. It's nice artwork. And then we've got some really sort of cool. Unfortunately, these vehicles aren't available yet. Maybe they will come available. Yeah, they're sort of The big flyers there, they're nice. Right, next one is Enforcers. So as I said, these are your typical sort of Starship Trooper, Marine, Stormtrooper style. So you've got your heavy guys here, the Peacekeepers, and then you've got your standard troops there. And again, obviously they've got all the tech. So a flyer, jet bikes, etc. So again, same kind of thing there. Another gallery, some more artwork. Forge Fathers. So again, by the time this is going out, there's been an announcement from a certain big company also in Nottingham that they're bringing back squats, believe it or not, to 30k Horus Heresy. So but this is fundamentally what these guys were based on, I think. Well, they are. It's as simple as that. So again, armoured dwarves or space dwarves. And again, they've got lots of little tanks and stuff that you can use. So they don't tend to fly very much, but they've got tanks and bikes and mining equipment and so on and so forth. And again, here's some, sorry about the lighting on that. GCPS, so this is your standard sort of grunts of the universe. So these are humans, your standard bog standard sort of conscripted soldiers. Again, quite a few nice little toys, but using weight and numbers to basically try and win the day. And that is the GCPS. Then we have the Marauders, which new artwork because obviously they've upgraded the sprues. So the old sprues were horrendous. These new ones actually look really nice. So again, obviously we've got these guys now. These guys tend to be sort of like mercenaries, that type of thing. So they're sort of available to be hired by whoever's require them. So you know, again, if you're coming from a different system, they're not necessarily always against the humans. They will fight alongside the humans, or with the humans, or against the humans if so they feel like they want to. Simple as that, really. And then we have the Plague. So again, this is sort of kind of Resident Evil gone mad. So yeah, basically anything from zombies, ghouls, up to sort of aberrations. So that's the Plague, one of my favourites. Don't expect to be shooting much, but yeah, get in there at someone's face and wreck it. That's the general idea. And then the Veer-myn, which is basically space rats. So rolling rat in space. So these guys, again, living in the tunnels. I wonder where they got that idea from. You can tell that obviously Mantic, or at least Ronnie Renton, is ex-GW. But these guys are in space, so the rats are made it into space, which they never did in 40k. So again, quite cool. Again, using weight of numbers, but they've also got some big guys, some vehicles, and lots of cool stuff there. So that is the force list. So you've got effectively quite a few factions there. Lovely, well put together book. Again, even if you don't collect the other ones, it's you still want to be reading them. So we've got a total of 8 factions in total within Firefight. So there's plenty to choose from. Each one very different. So again, unlike Gates of Antares, which kind of flopped, where pretty much 4 out of the 6 factions were identical. Each one of these is clear and concise and does very different battlefield roles. So that is the force lists. Okay, so onto the rulebook, 104 pages, again filled with very nice artwork and very nice diagrams as to basically what you need to do. Plenty of missions, some narrative ones, objective based ones. So again, they've done well on the missions there. Again, some more, I mean, a lot of this actually is guff, to be honest with you, its background. So in actual fact, if I break it down to what is actually the rules, that's just all the guff at the beginning about, oh, you need dice to play a war game and a tape measure. Right, so rules, here we go. So page 10, let's see where these bad boys end. Page 10 goes up to, bearing in mind artwork as well. Yeah, so that's keywords, so we don't worry about that. 39, so we've got 29 pages of rules. So there we go, 29 pages. That shouldn't take too long to figure this out. Still haven't worked out what that green and grey card are for. So, and still haven't even seen. See, that's the thing. You've got diagrams here with woods and buildings and rocks. but nothing in the book, in the box, as a starter set. Not even a card. What's wrong with 2D terrain as a starter set? Just to get people started. I don't get it. I really don't. Especially when you play in a game which has got relevant height. So, for example, here, it says here the woods are height 5. So, if you had a piece of card that said woods height 5, you would know that unless you are height 6, you can't see over the wood. It doesn't need to be trees. I mean, obviously, I've got all manner of size of trees. So, in actual fact, really, when you're playing a war game, other than aesthetic, you're better off with 2D. So, maybe next time, let's have some card terrain. I remember Flames, I think it was Flames of War had some in their starter set. And it works perfectly fine for a starter set. That's what it is, it's a starter set. You're not expecting, you know, serious war gamers to necessarily use it. If you want people to get into the game and really work out how things interact, how you move through terrain, that kind of thing, that's a lot better. Because obviously they can refer to it. So, yeah, effectively, ranged attacks, so let's have a look. So you've got standard modifiers, target and cover, target is a small unit, target is a vehicle with the fly keyword, -1, target has the stealthy keyword. So stealthy fly is going to be at -2, so you roll to hit, needing more than the target number. So if you're hitting on a 5 and you're at -2, you need 7s on a D8. Remember, same as in Dead Zone, 8's explode in this, so obviously if you roll an 8, you get to roll it again. If you roll another 8, you get to roll it again. You get another 8, you roll it again. And obviously keep sort of racking up the hits. Movement and coherency, okay, so obviously you've got, obviously this is unit based, so again, obviously you need that. So you get command dice, command points. I suppose that's probably the big thing really. So you can issue faction orders and command orders. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give you too much on the rules. Obviously, you need to read it, buy it, and digest it. So I like the fact they've got built-in nerve. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, nerve looks fine. Buildings, I'll digest that at a later point. Yeah, and all your keywords. So yeah, overall, good, well put together book. So there we have it. Okay, so in conclusion, Firefight. Is it something I'm going to play? Yeah, I will. I have got quite a large enforcer list, which obviously has just been added to by the fact that I've got a load of these guys. So yeah, I'm really impressed, I'll be honest. The rules themselves really have, oh my god, I've just realised. Right, okay, disclaimer alert. Rules and game development credits Andy Sharp, my brother. Right, okay, so yeah, the game's rubbish, don't buy it. No, I'm only joking. I knew he was involved in it, I didn't actually even realise that he's the lead guy, rules and game development, just him. So there we go. Well done, Andy, my brother. I am so proud and impressed. You have your name in a book. Well done. Can I have a signature, please? But on a serious note, yeah, what they've done is they've taken all the good elements of Dead Zone, which is a fantastic little game played on 8x8 cubes, and they've brought it into this. So actually, so far, from initial sort of flick through, I must admit I haven't gone into too much detail. Looks really good. Obviously, a few games we'll have to get under our belt, see the balance. I must admit I don't own a huge amount of the vehicles, which obviously will be a big balancing factor, as is always the case. You don't really want pay to win, which is obviously what the other company do. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see how the terrain really interacts. Obviously, we've got really big, heavy boards, so I think we'll have to get some games in, and obviously, subscribe to the channel because we are going to do it. I've seen enough to be impressed. I'll be honest. The last attempts to get this really off the ground have faltered, I think would be fair to say. Whilst there's little pockets of people playing it, it hasn't really sort of got off the ground, both Firefight and Warpath. So yeah, I mean, check it out. I mean, at £95, as I say, as a starter set, unless you are completely new to the game, or you really want the Marauders, or the Enforcers, there's probably a better option if you know what you're doing, kind of thing. Buy the rulebook with the dice option. I think it's £40 RRP. Obviously we'll be discounting it anyway, and then from there get whichever faction you want, because as I say, there's 8 factions. You don't have to be limited to what's actually in the box, and as I say, loads of people over the years with Kickstarters and various other things have got that oodles and oodles of Enforcers, yeah, I mean, I don't suppose you really need much else. Obviously the advantage with the starter factions is you get vehicle, so you'll get a flyer or a tank or something like that as well. So yeah, for I think 75 and 40, so for effectively about £25–30 more before discount, you're going to get vehicles as well and more men. So yeah, overall that would be the route to go, I think. Right, so anyway, we'll wind that up. As I say, do like and subscribe, and look out for some Firefight coming your way very soon. So we'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.